Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Laura Solon and Steve Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, Steve. First one of the year.
It is my first one. It's only the second one of the year, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
50% hit rate this year.
And Laura's back with us again. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
And we arrived about 7ish. We've been sitting around chatting and reading the papers. And what should happen? Page 7 of the Daily Mirror. The following headline: too fat for a CAT scan. We can use the horse scanner at the zoo. And this is the story of someone who I had a CAT scan actually not that long ago. You go in a little. It's like a big hula hoop.
Yeah. Tremendously boring, aren't they?
I mean the snack food rather than the exercise thing. And you go through it on a little slide. I know I'm selling it. People are thinking, oh, try the CAT scan thing. I can't afford Alton Towers this year. But this person went, was it a man or a lady? Do we know?
It's several people.
Oh, it's several people.
It's overweight patients.
Okay.
Plural.
One of my favourite card games. Yeah, you just put the cards in the folds of the person you're playing with, rather than on the floor. Yeah, so they were told that the CAT scan, which is the normal scanner, the human being scanner, let's call it that now, at the hospital was a bit too small for them. So they had to get in an ambulance and
took them to London Zoo.
And yeah, they had to go to the zoo for their scan.
That's got to be humiliating.
Well, I don't know.
Lying in your hospital bed.
I imagine that they're quite philosophical about it. They always knew the zoo was just around the corner. They kept on with those hobnobs. It was a one-way ticket to the zoo. Remember that? Anyone listening having a big fry-up? Imagine, it's like when you only get a new prisoner in one of those prison movies, and all the other prisoners, when they arrive, are sort of dragging their metal cups against the bars and catcalling as they're led in. As you go into the zoo, you can imagine the chimpanzees giving you such stick when the fat person arrives for their scan on the horse scan. Why is there a horse scan at a zoo is what I'm asking.
Yeah, why is it not an elephant scanner?
Yeah, do they have horses in the zoo?
There are no horses at London Zoo.
No, exactly. That's why the scanner is sitting there free. I tell you, there's a mix-up there. I have a terrible feeling there's I suppose the zebras are all right on it.
Oh, yeah, nice. They can fit.
Good fit.
They're pretty good fit. There's a picture in the mirror of a horse on the horse scan. It looks incredible.
He's trussed up and on his back.
He's all tied up, and his tail has got a glove on. For some reason, it must be a particularly cold day. They put a mitten on the tail, because you know that tail tip. If that gets cold, you never get warm again. I find that. If there's any equine.
What are they scanning it for?
The horse.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to find the jockey on that one. It's a bit of a pile-up at the race, and it all got mangled together. And no, it is the idea of arriving to use the horse scanner.
It says here that some people are transported on low loaders and taken to the. I mean, that's the day you join Weight Watchers, isn't it? I
think if they're going to use the horse scan, that the fat people should have to travel in a horse box, looking out that slot at the back. Yeah.
Cars travelling.
So you're driving to the match, and so there's some fat people on their way to the horse scanner. Yeah, so they've already got the nose bags on. It's if ever now, I think we as a nation, we obesity is a big problem, and I think we need motivation to try and.
We will horse scan you.
Yeah, and if the New Year's resolution isn't working as well as you thought, let's do it the other way. Rather than positive thinking, I want to be thin, think I don't want to be on the horse scanner.
Carrot and stick.
Yeah, though
more stick.
They're not going to be attracted by a carrot. What about Mars bar and stick?
Donuts.
Yeah. Then you don't need the string. You can just have the Mars bar on the end. That would be lovely. But the horses must be a bit miffed, having to queue behind.
Well, they're in peak physical fitness as well, horses.
Exactly, and there's their scanner. I bet they're thinking it's bad enough when these people ride us. Yeah. And now they're using our medical equipment.
When those people ride them, it is bad news.
Exactly. Imagine when you get on it and they say you're being strapped onto the horse scanner, and they say, it's all right, you don't need to use those 2 leg straps. They'll be over for you. Oh no, just put your forearms in those. Oh, no. Please, no more people on the horse scanner.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
It makes you wonder what kind of creature the cat scanner was originally planned for. Anyway, look, I had a slight, I had an accident this week. Yeah.
Were you trying to get on the cat scanner yourself?
No, it was a shower-based accident. I hit my head in the shower. Yes, I know what you're all thinking. Is he that old?
You know, one of those rails.
Basically, shower-based injuries are for the elderly, aren't they? Because it came as such a horrible shock, because the shower's I find the shower to be a lovely, comforting, warm, steamy, soapy...
It's your friend, the shower.
Exactly,
it's not
yeah.
like a cupboard door which you leave open above your head and you catch it on.
And you don't think of it in the sharp edges front, but there are taps, of course, in the shower.
There are, and some showers are evil. The ones that are wired up to other taps in the house, and someone opens the other tap, and your shower goes scalding hot. There are evil showers.
Yeah, I don't have one of those showers. The only problem with my shower, if I had to be critical of my shower, I could do with a bit of an anti-lime scale thing on it. And it's got an overhead, what do they call it? They call it the rose, the thing that the water comes out of. Yeah. It's got, I think they call it that.
That's very poetic. Like shower head.
That's only what they call it on a watering can. And it's the same principle, let's face it. Yeah. So it's got very lime scaly. I don't know what lime scale is. So some of the holes are a bit bunged up.
Do you know what you should do? Wash your hair with Calgon.
Is that with Calgon?
Calgon.
What is that?
It's a lime scale remover for your washing machine.
Oh. Well, maybe I could just put that on my rose.
Well,
I know it sounds like it could sting. No, what's happened is the water used to come just straight out of these holes, and now they've gone all lime scale. It's like it's going to be Jean-Michel Jarre laser show. There's two that just hit the door now. Yeah. Two of the jets. So when I open, I'm wet before I get in the shower. But I can live with that. But what happened is my cleaner very kindly bought me some soap for Christmas. And
was that a bit of a comment?
I don't think so. I think it was she said, I was just looking around your house at things that you needed, and I saw there was a opening in the soap area. Yeah. But she has bought me the biggest bars of soap I have ever... They're like transistor radios from the 60s. It's a two-hander bar of soap.
Bar of soap.
Now, that makes you very anxious when you're in the shower, because if I drop this, I'll be in hospital.
With a broken foot.
Well, there are many tiny bones on the top of the foot.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered about this with big soap, but I've never had soap this big before. So anyway, I was washing away... And it was at the stage where the edges were just starting to come off the soap. You know when you first have soap, it's got sharp edges.
Yeah, yeah.
And then about halfway through the shower, it's like a relationship. The sharp edges turn into nice, cosy, rounded, slippery edges, and you can relax.
Yeah.
And of course, I took my eye off the ball. And did I mention that part of the show? No. And I dropped the soap, and I thought, my immediate thought was the foot. So I went down to catch the falling soap, and I hit my head, properly nearly knocked myself out, blood on the shower floor, like in Psycho.
Oh.
A domestic horror movie.
Well, more of a Domestos. I could see Domestos from where I was. I was on the road to Domestos.
Did it, when your life flashes before your eyes, did your, what am I going to tell the doctor flash before your eyes?
Sure, the first thing you think is, I've got to get a towel around me.
Yeah,
before
that's,
call
you see,
for help.
I slipped on a cocktail gherkin last year in my kitchen.
Well, that could happen to anyone.
And I landed really...
What, is it Christmas?
No, it was a cornichon, I think they're called. Oh. And I slipped on the floor, and my thought was, when I thought I'd broken my bottom, because it was very painful, I thought, what am I going to tell people? Because I think this is not going to elicit sympathy.
No, I slipped on a cocktail gherkin. I mean, thank God the cocktail stick wasn't through it. You could have been skewered. I think my first thought was, I'm going to have to get one of those rubber mats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that is the end, isn't it?
Then you need a chair. Then you want a plastic chair.
Because when I'm in a hotel and there's one of those rubber mats in the bath of the shower, I remove it immediately. And it's like, it's like pulling an octopus tentacle off a fellow diver's back. You feel like you're being correct. But I love the sound, but to live with the rubber mat, I couldn't cope with that. So it was shocking, and it was a little intimation of mortality, I felt. come with me on this.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
Frank, we've had a incredible text in. How about this for a text? Someone saying, Frank, lime scale, that's bad. You've only had your shower a year. How weird is that?
Well, that hadn't occurred to me that I have only had it a year, but that person is correct. How marvellous it is that there is a listener who knows when I had my shower.
Paying attention.
That makes me feel like I'm wrapped in their inner warmth.
Unless they live in your flat and you don't know.
I don't think my girlfriend would know how long we'd had the shower if I asked her now, face to face. She'd say, I don't know, ask me about the shower.
Ask your listeners.
Shut up. That's what she'd say. But that's a good point, though.
So you've only had your shower a year and it's already suffering with
Well, I
lime
mean, I don't know. What is the lime scale time scale? That's the question. No, well, is it me looking at Steve's looking at me as if there's something limey about me?
Yeah.
I am a limey, of course, in the old traditional term.
But you've got some solutions to it. 0715 says the best thing for lime scale is citric acid. And then
I don't like the sound of citric acid.
5491. Frank, soak your rose head in vinegar overnight. Job done.
Isn't that what you do with conkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. The trouble is with let me paint you a picture of my rose head. It's not one of those that's on like a spindly metal tube that you can move about. You know, it's fixed.
It's fixed.
And it's fixed to the ceiling of the shower.
You need a vinegar nose bag.
Yeah, well, you do. I mean, quite a big one. It must be a foot across, my rose head. And certainly when it's fully displayed.
I've never heard it called a
That
rose
is
head.
what it's called, honestly. I think it's the same for ornamental fountains. It's all, it's all the same principle. Large disc, holes. And, I mean, I could just get a normal tap, I suppose, and hang a colander under it.
Yeah.
That's just occurred to me. I never thought of that before. Or I could maybe run it through a teenager's face. And it would come out the spot holes. Oh, sorry, everyone. You've all looked at me in slight disgust. So, I don't know how I can... What if I just put vinegar on it with a J-cloth?
That's not going to work.
That's not been an answer that's been texted in. But
No,
someone
so
said
you
get
can't
that
do it.
shower head descaled, or you could be harbouring the Legionella bacteria in it.
Oh, now
in
that's...
it, as in...
That's
in
right.
it, no, just
street.
in it.
Legionella, of course, is the female Legionnaire from
Yeah.
Marvel Comics. And if you've seen a sort of busty girl in desert clothing, yeah, on a quite saucy camel.
Harbouring on your rose.
I don't want to do any harbouring, obviously, not in my own shower. Well, I'll get that sorted. I think what I usually... I've got another shower in another property. We won't go into details.
Wouldn't
that's
that be
got
the
a
height of extravagance?
That's got a
Changing
ru-
properties.
Yeah, well, it would. Yeah, it's quite a distance as well. It's got a rubbery rose head on it. Rubbery. The actual nozzle-y bits are rubber rather than metal.
All right.
And that I flick them individually.
Yeah, that's good.
And
I
you
do
can
that,
flick them into a perfect stream. So they're a bit, they've got the twisted stream, and I flick them, and suddenly they're smooth and lovely. I can't do that with a metal rose head. It won't have it. I need vinegar, and I need it now. Malt or balsamic?
It just says vinegar.
Oh, well,
Someone else has said spirit of salts. You can use spirit of salts to clean the shower head.
Spirit of salt.
It's spirit of salt.
I love the sound. That is brilliant, isn't it?
Spirit of salt.
It's like essence of summer.
Yeah.
Spirit of salts. Sounds like a nice air freshener.
Yeah, it's got a lovely alliteration thing to it
Yeah.
as well.
It does. I like the way your shows turn from like entertainment to a sort of home help.
No, but I find this entertaining because I didn't know. When I woke up this morning, I had never heard the phrase "spirit of salts" in my
I feel
life.
better for learning.
And now that is lodged in my vocabulary.
Or
And if that ain't what radio's about, then I'm Sir Gerald Nabarro.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
And another thing that happened to me, and this is a very recent development in my life. I went to a mate's house the weekend, and
Is that a recent development?
well,
Friendship.
It is
At this
visiting. No, I did a lot of visiting as a child. We used to say, my mum would say, Sunday we'll do visiting. And that's what we did. We visited, and no one had a phone, so we turned up at people's houses. Many of them weren't in, so we visited someone else.
So
there was a list.
Trespassing or visiting?
It was visiting. Ideally, depends whether they wanted you to come or not. Yeah, it was a proper thing that people did. Let's go visiting.
Imposing.
I like the idea of visiting with no noun on the end.
No
of
agenda.
It. Yeah, it's just the verb. We'll visit, and whoever we visit is not that relevant.
What do you do at the weekend? Tons of visiting.
So my friend, what I've developed in later life, and this has only just been the last 2 or 3 years, is a cat allergy.
What, out of nowhere?
I discovered it in the dentist's. I was stroking the dentist's cat. My girlfriend was in the chair in an adjoining room. And
Were you a Bond villain?
Yeah,
it did sound a bit.
I was a Bond villain at the time.
In a dentist chair as well, swivelling around.
But Daniel Craig forced me out as part of his family's vendetta against me.
You visited him too much.
You'll know that Rachel Weisz stole my cleaner. So I have a long-running feud with that family. Anyway, stole actually might be a little bit harsh. She lured. So I went to the mate's house, and the cat allergy. I was stroking the dentist's cat, and I heard my girlfriend laughing hysterically in the chair in the other room, and I thought I didn't think they still use that gas. But she was laughing that I'd sneezed about 100 times in 2 minutes, which I hadn't really
What was
noticed.
the dentist doing your teeth?
He was doing my girlfriend's teeth. I was in the waiting room playing with his cat.
Ah, right, yeah.
You see, you get it?
Yeah,
Get
I
the
do
geography?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Anyway, I went round a friend's house, and they've got a cat with long hair, and I think it knows.
Teenage cat.
I think it, yeah, exactly.
Hippie.
It's got it all coming forward like a One Direction member. And I think this cat knows that it makes me sneeze and cry.
They sense.
It got closer, and I felt it was shrugging its shoulders a bit in order to emanate dander. To get the dander up, to get my dander up, certainly. It's the dander that's the problem on a cat.
Is it?
Yeah. Dander, it comes from the same root as dandruff. It's skin bits. The cat's skin bits are in the air. And that's what goes up my nose. Yeah.
So what happened then? Did you have a reaction?
Oh God, I just sneeze and my throat hurts. And what you want to do ideally is when your friends are out the room, Scotch guard the cat really quickly. Just keep an aerosol can in the thing, or maybe you can't turn up with a bin liner, with a window. So I'm going to have to stop going there. Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, it's part of my long problem with cat. It started as a child. My dad used to say. Course of cats. If a cat urinates on a plant, dies immediately. So the dog.
Why did your dad say that?
He did. He'd say, "This is why we." His argument was why we had a dog, right? Because there'd be a debate about why don't we have a cat? And he'd say, "Well, because if a dog urinates on a plant, it's fine.
Lives forever.
It's fine."
Did you live in a biodome?
But
in a tree house. Do you live in it?
My dad was a great defender of dog urine. It was one of its great champions, exactly. Dog urine, I think it'd be anathema now if it wasn't for people like my dad singing its praises. And then I lived with a woman who had a cat, and I remember the first night she moved in. I said, "Oh, the cat's in the bedroom. Just get that out." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "The cat's gone into the bedroom." She said, "No, I always have the cat in the bedroom." And I said, "Oh no, I can't have the cat in the bedroom." And it was really quite a, I'm moving out then type of a argument. It's a big.
You're the cat.
The cat in the bedroom. They don't they emanate poisonous gases at night or something?
If they wee on you, you die.
Well, exactly. Immediately.
But the upside is if you get it on your shower, it'll remove the lime scale.
Well, there's pros and cons with the cat in the bedroom scenario. I'm not denying that. Well, I just think that don't they use up more oxygen at night?
We have our cat in our bedroom, and I'm still alive.
Is it plants that use up more oxygen? I think I read somewhere that purring takes up 5 times more oxygen than breathing.
Really?
Yeah.
What about smoking? Well, a cat who smokes and then purrs.
No, I simply wouldn't tolerate that. I have my limits. But yeah, so is it? What is it? I've got mixed up. Is it plants that emanate poisonous gases at night, so you don't have them in your bedroom?
I thought they released oxygen.
Okay, well, I don't want to. Well, obviously,
it sounds like if houseplants release poisonous gases at night, they'd be more.
I think you're right. I think they release good stuff at night. They release oxygen, and that's why you don't want cats in your bedroom, because if they urinate on those plants, they're dead. I think we've got there. I think we're there now.
It sounds like science.
Yeah. Now we have that basis. Then we can move on. But you've got to get.
People are going to text in.
Let's get the facts. Let's get the facts straight to start off with.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
My headphones have gone, so I'm having to use the producer's headphones, which means that sort of coily thing that you have, not coily minogue, the coily lead that you have is against my throat. It's quite dangerous.
Brummy for Kylie.
Yeah. Imagine getting completely choked.
We've had a text in, Frank. People have been responding to the cat thing. I hope the dentist cat was called McCavity.
That is excellent.
That would be neat.
He could have had another one called Phil too, which is nice as well.
Yeah. Not as good as McCavity. Let's face
then
it.
Someone else has texted in to say
McCavity. Never top a classic, Steve.
Then someone else has texted to say plants nick your oxygen and put out carbon dioxide at night. So you were right.
Oh, they do. I thought. Oh, I got so.
If this
confused
person
about
is
plants.
indeed
So
right.
you don't want plants or cats in your bedroom. What?
Nothing in your bedroom.
Okay, nothing in
or
your bedroom.
Or rose heads. Nothing.
Pass.
And there's we've had another one that says that the pollen from lilies kills cats. Dave from Croydon.
Dave from Croydon says that like he knows.
That sounds like graffiti to me.
Pollen from lilies kills cats.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant graffiti, wouldn't it? I urge you all now to go out and spray that on a nearby wall. Is that legal to it?
No, you can't incite graffiti.
Oh, exactly. Don't just do it in your own homes.
Is
that true? Ironic, because they use lilies at funerals when the damage has already been done.
What do they use at cat funerals?
I think they use shovels. Certainly, all the cat funerals I've been at. I've been at some very, very... I just looked up then, and that story about the horse scanner was on the TV screen. It's following me around.
There's another great horse story in the news this week.
Oh, yeah?
It's in the Mail about a lady on a remote Scottish island who keeps a horse in her semi-detached house. And my favourite thing about the story is the horse is called Grey Lady 2, named after the woman's first pony.
Let me
Grey
guess.
Lady.
That should have been...
Not the number 2, T-O-O.
It's not T-O-O.
No, it is. It's Grey Lady as well.
Oh, I see.
Clever.
Her neighbours are outraged.
Yeah.
She's keeping a horse.
I don't think
it's called
keep a horse in a house.
because I don't like it. It's the Mail Online's suggested pun, the unwelcome horse guest.
It's only there awaiting a scan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fat people on the island.
Yeah.
I had an idea that it was illegal to keep a horse in a house.
It doesn't say. It's her house.
Why is it legal to keep a horse in a house?
It's one of those...
difficult to say.
Yeah, one of those bylaws.
You may not keep a horse in a house.
Well, I imagine it's dangerous for the horse, isn't it? Stairs.
Can they walk downstairs,
No,
or
they
is that
can't go
cows?
upstairs.
They can go upstairs and not downstairs.
Oh, they can go upstairs. That's why they have firemen's policies.
Cows can go upstairs but not downstairs.
Really?
Then they are destined for heaven. How beautiful.
Or the sports department.
Is that right? That cows can only go upstairs?
I may have just made that up.
I like the idea of that.
I think they have difficulty going downstairs.
Imagine thinking, oh no, who built that abattoir in the basement? Now we're going to have to get a big cow lift.
They don't have to combat a lot of stairs in their daily routine, cows.
Well, no, only from passers-by. No, that's... I
think it's illegal to... There are house horses. There are miniature horses that people
use them
keep
to
indoors. Guide horses.
Tiny horses.
You're tiny, but this is a proper horse.
This is a full-size horse.
Is it? What is it? A shy horse or something?
No, it's a dapple grey.
Dapple grey.
Hence its name.
And she said, this is my own property. If I want to even keep an elephant in the house, I can.
What, Jumbo too?
Jumbo also.
Jumbo again would be a good one. That'd be a great name, Jumbo.
Jumbo the sequel.
Jumbo again wouldn't be a bad name for a novelist, would it?
It's not the only pet story that's been in the news this week as well. They're saying that, according to the Telegraph, dogs cause 3 family arguments every week.
No, the average dog causes 3 family arguments, so there's some that are doing better
More.
than that.
Yeah, and some that are docile to the
Passive.
extreme. In fact, they're peacemakers in many ways.
Dogs.
Oh, someone's just texted in to say rubbish on the cow fact, so I clearly have made it up.
Well, no, oh, hold on, they could be wrong. Unless it's some sort of...
Hang on, we should vote. There's 3 of us and one of them. 3-1.
My made-up fact, is it right or wrong?
I want to know more about the list now. If it's a herdsman, I'm going with...
or a cow stair manufacturer.
Yeah, exactly.
A stair lift for cows.
Yeah, so the dog arguments.
According to the Telegraph, spats range from disagreeing about who should take the dog for the walk, feeding them too many treats, and humanising your pets, which I think means when women and
Is
men...
that like enamelling?
Humanising.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't have pets, but I've had arguments about pets. As I've already said, I've had some big cat arguments.
What about tigers?
Cat
lions?
spats. Have you ever seen cat spats? The buttons on them are very tiny. And the strap that normally goes under the heel, it's like webbing, so it goes under each toe. It's quite... I had when we used to build dens in the summer, this kid I knew had built... He trapped a pigeon in a cage that he'd kept in the den. And I said, why? That's a bit cruel, keeping the pigeon. He said, I'm teaching it to talk. And it was one of those moments, and I thought, do I tell him? Or because he was quite a violent boy, and I didn't want him to set about me. But he would go, grey bird, grey bird, grey bird, hoping that it would repeat it. And I thought, if I was going to teach it to talk, I wouldn't want it to just do a simple description for
very slow progress as well on
for
that.
the nearsighted. No, there was never any. I don't even recall her.
Absolute Radio, Frank Skinner.
Well, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with Steve Williams and Laura Solon, and yes, I'm eating a biscuit.
It did sound like you were eating a biscuit, I'll be honest.
You know what? I'm not eating one anymore.
Nice.
And that is one of the joys of swallowing, which is actually the title of my new book. But they said I couldn't, best not mention it on air. So anyway,
Hey Frank,
here we are.
do you see the story this week that, because it's the darts semi-final today, Ted Hankey versus Christian, I can't remember his last name, is it Kids?
Christian Kist.
Christian Kist.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful name.
It is a beautiful name, isn't it? It sounds like something like a painter or a fountain would be
Yeah,
called.
it's very
Christian
pretty.
Kist fountains.
It's something, of course, that I seem to remember Susan Boyle's never been.
Nice.
Isn't that what she said when she...
Never been kissed.
That's what she said on her first ever appearance. She said something like 51 and never been kissed. Perhaps she meant Christian Kist.
Yeah.
Was talking about how she'd never absorbed his essential humanity into her own.
His spirit of salts.
But Ted Hankey, I like the sound of.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
The vampire, Ted Hankey. I've seen him play darts. He's brilliant. The
Well,
darts is
He's called the Vampire, is that his nickname?
yeah. Well, they've all got characters.
Yeah,
They've
they're
all
like sort
got-
of the wrestling. They all have an alter
absolutely,
ego now,
which is so funny. Like
Yeah, but if you're called Hankey, you want to cash in on that a bit, don't you?
Ted the Kleenex Hankey.
Yeah. Ted the Sneeze, Hankey.
The sneeze.
Yeah.
But it's because that darts thing. Guess who's playing darts? I read in the paper this week. Who do you think's playing darts?
Well, I saw...
Celebrity.
Yes, I saw a picture of...
seen it, yeah.
but it wasn't a real photograph, so I'm not totally convinced. Is it
Put people out their misery.
is it Lady Gaga?
Lady Gaga's playing darts in California in
Yeah,
a league of pubs.
I love the sound. It makes me wonder what Lord Gaga makes of her eccentric behaviour. You know, he keeps a low profile, but I bet he sits at home in the manor house thinking, you know, did I make a mistake when I married her? My parents said, well, she's dreadfully common, and she's only after you for the title. And, you know, I mean, you never see them together, do you?
No.
One wonders if they're estranged.
She's in California. He's in the manor house.
Yeah, wherever that is. I don't know. I don't know where Gaga Manor is, do you?
Gaga, man. This is
I've known a few people with a Gaga Manor. Oh, God. So, yeah, she's
played
played
darts.
darts. Lovely.
It's incredible. Can you imagine playing darts against her?
I played darts against Phil the Power Taylor.
There's another one with a middle name. Phil the Power Taylor.
Yeah. See, but the power is better than... what's he called? The vampire?
Ted the Vampire Hanky.
Yeah, I don't... See, the trouble is, he sounds like Ted the Vampire Hanky. Yeah. A bit like, there's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then there's that bloke who just wipes their noses. Ted the Vampire Hanky. And that you don't want to be known as that, do you? Because I imagine there must be moments when, if you've got catarrh, vampiring is a horrible business. You can't breathe. Can't breathe when you're taking the blood out. You know, you're gonna, come to me, my oh no. Yeah, could you put some in a glass? I can't breathe today. God, it's terrible. Yeah. So I played with him, and he said to me, I want you to hit treble 17. I said, OK. And he said, I'll give you 10 quid if you get it.
Really?
So I really took my time and through. And I was very close, just the other side of the wire. And he said, now, that's how you have to throw every dart you throw when you're a professional, in practice and in tournaments. Every one, like you did with that one.
Like you're about to win 10 quid.
And it's a great philosophy for life, isn't it? That to get
Doesn't he earn a lot more when he wins?
Yeah, but if you've thrown every dart like that, even in practice, I thought there was something very beautiful. He then went on to tell me how he nearly lost his MBE after he was found fondling to him in his motorhome after an exhibition game in Fife. Which
I bet there's a story you thought would never appear on radio.
No, I didn't know where to look. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I thought I'm seeing too much behind the scenes. I like a bit of behind the scenes, making off, but I didn't want to know about the ladies in the motorhome. Anyway, I suppose we've all got that secret life going on. Can I just say, if my girlfriend's listening, I haven't.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
Frank, we've had a text in from Paul in Glasgow. The best darts name ever, Kevin the Artist Painter.
Oh, that's
what a
good.
Great darts name.
Yeah, I've never heard of that
Kevin
one.
Kevin the Artist Painter.
It could be called the Decorator.
No, too many.
Yeah.
Too many there. Kevin the Decorator Painter.
Harking back to your...
Kevin the House Painter.
Yeah.
That would have been quite good.
Harking back to
I'd drop the Kevin, I wouldn't bother with it at all. Sorry.
Your friend and the pigeon story.
Oh, yeah.
I've had an email from Alex. It says, Dear Frank and the gang, regarding Frank's obsession... This is just about childhood endeavour, not about pigeons. Regarding Frank's obsession with levitation, when I was a child, I used to have baths and put my head underwater for as long as possible in the belief that humans could breathe underwater somehow. It was only that no one had worked out how to do it yet.
He's a pioneer. I often thought, that there has not enough research has gone into that, whether we can or whether we can't. We've just sort of taken it on face value. Yeah. But I've never properly tried it. I bet loads of her. Can I just say, I'm not urging any of our listeners to try and find out if they can breathe underwater. But it hasn't been properly explored there.
Then he continues to say...
I bet...
You could learn it.
Yeah, I bet that the snorkel industry has put pressure on the government not to do that research.
Lobbied hard.
Yeah, because the snorkel industry will be on its knees.
It's worth millions, the snorkel industry.
Yeah, God, I mean...
It's worse than big tobacco. The snorkel industry. I
don't know how many people would... Well, I think there was that time when people used to smoke cigars through snorkels. And I think the Monopolies Commission stopped that. Otherwise, it was just tobacco and snorkels were running British industry. Sorry.
No, he carries on saying, I also used to spend ages in phone boxes, convinced that there was a special Bond-esque number you could dial before a proper number that would give you free phone calls. I was an only child and had a lot of time on my hands.
That suggests, doesn't it, that the only child...
Trying to guess a number.
What is the plural for only child?
Children.
Only children?
Yeah. Surely you wouldn't have only childs.
No, but you wouldn't
have...
Like would you say there's several only children in this country?
Surely you would.
Would you?
Because children is a plural of child. This will be something people can text in for.
You wouldn't say, I'd like to know how many only children there are. Yeah, it sounds like people who are only children, that's all. They're not anything else other than children. They never manifest themselves in animal form.
It's like I want to know what the plural of Elvis is. As in when you see more than one Elvis at a convention.
Isn't that just Elvis's? It can't be Elvi. If that's
Surely it's Elvi.
No,
No,
surely.
you have to add more letters on.
It's
surely.
L. We had this debate. I remember a while back. I got very worked up about computer mouse and what you'd call two of them.
Surely it's mice.
I can't be.
Why not?
It can't be.
Are you dismissing it like breathing underwater, out of hand?
I'm not dismissing. I think breathing underwater is. When you said he spent a lot of time with phone boxes, I thought you meant full of water. You really took it to all the extremes. Wouldn't it be brilliant though to define it that we could? He just hadn't. You know, we just sort of we just accepted that.
Well, like getting a cat allergy later in life.
Yeah.
You've suddenly turned a skill on.
Yeah, it's less of a skill than breathing underwater, though. I don't know. I can't see me being brought in by MI5 for my cat allergy. Did we hear anything else from our beloved? We had a few cracking emails. I think
we
this
had
week.
we had another one which says, Frank, here are a couple of pun-based TV shows that need to be considered for your list.
I like these. Now, these, can I say, these are based on the idea that some TV shows only get commissioned because people come up with like a punning title.
Yeah.
And well, I think you were pointed out earlier,
Mudmen.
Laura. Yeah, there's a new programme on Sky called Mudmen, in which Johnny Vaughan looks into mod.
What?
You're not selling it.
And if there hadn't been a programme called Mad Men, I don't think that would exist. I really don't.
We'd have to call it Johnny Vaughan's Mud Looking, and that's less of a good title.
It just, first mod. It would be another pun on something.
Yeah. The email says, Frank, considered for your list to be commissioned purely on the name. Number 1, Down to Abbey. A short 10-minute debate on a topical subject, judged by Abby Clancy.
What about Abby Titmuss?
So,
that'd be a more natural
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So it's
Nice.
So what?
Happy Titmuss.
Down to Abby. It's at the end. Ultimately, the debate is it's down to Abby to decide.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I love it.
The second one is a series of documentaries featuring a famous outdoor adventurer who each week grills a different type of food using a small barbecue, with a series finale of him actually grilling a bear. It's called Bear Grylls. Open brackets, grizzly, not polar.
I have to say, I that one hurts me a little, because I had a bit of a Bear Grylls incident this week. I think I'll tell you later. It was Bear Grylls stroke Carol Vorderman incident. Yeah, imagine it.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
We've had a text in from a woman. We were talking about dogs causing domestic disputes earlier, and she says her dog operates in a sort of a Solomon-like capacity in their local neighbourhood. Neighbours and couples bring their problems to the dog, and he decides, like Judge Judy does, and brings actually peace and harmony to the neighbourhood. So we shouldn't forget the conciliation service ACAS role that some dogs have in their local community. I've made this text up, but it's a text I wish someone had sent in. I was talking about Carol Vorderman and Bear Grylls. What happened, and this is I don't know, this is an occupational hazard in the comedy business, but I've been hosting a panel show. This is my TV work, which I try not to bring up, something that really is, it's a squalid side of my career. But I've been hosting a panel show, and I had Carol Vorderman on as a guest, and I started, we were talking about camping, and how she hated camping.
With Carol Vorderman?
Yeah, not camping with Carol Vorderman. Well, obviously, she always camps with Carol Vorderman, being Carol Vorderman. But I said I'd gone camping with Bear Grylls, and I was going to go on to say they aren't anywhere near as good as the George Foremans.
Nice.
But I said, well, I went camping with Bear Grylls, and she said, oh, what was that like? I imagine he that was quite stressful, because he'd make you do quite difficult things. And I thought, I'm going to hit you now. I was on my way to the George Foreman, and obviously this can happen in any panel show. But it was. She didn't mean it. It wasn't a deliberate ploy.
A block.
But I felt like it's like, when you're driving and a small child walks out into the street. It's not his fault, but it's like it's a terrible, scary moment. There's my story.
What was camping with Bear Grylls like?
I didn't go camping with Bear Grylls. It was I said it just so I could do the George Forbes. See, whose side are you on, me or Vorderman's?
Vorderman's.
Why? What are you doing? Sudokus and detox?
Sudokus and detox.
Sudokus and detox.
With Carol Vorderman.
A novel by Carol Vorderman.
On an unrelated topic.
Yes.
Can I bring in an unrelated topic?
Sorry, I know it was an odd story, but I needed to tell someone about it.
It's been rankling.
It's very hard to get any kind of comedy counselling. I don't know if you found this, Steve. Or Laura. Any comedy problems are just... They aren't the
Where
specialists.
You should go to Solomon the dog for arbitration.
Yeah, exactly. I think... I don't know if he does comedy. I'll have a look at the...
Solomon.
I'll have a look in the... I've got it on the cork board. Solomon the dog. Domestic problem solved with canine wisdom.
Does he worth once for yes?
Canine wisdom, of course, is the dog that lives with my dentist. Sorry, Laura, what?
It's just on an unrelated topic. I have to realise in the new year that without formally planning it as a life strategy, both myself and my husband have been washing out jars, jam jars, condiment jars, and then putting them in the cupboard. We've been stockpiling them.
Empty jars?
Empty jars. We've got 10 to 12 empty jars in our limited cupboard space. And I'm wondering if this is the start of hoarding.
So presumably one of you did it, and then the other one...
No, I don't know who did it first. It's synchronicity.
I suppose if you saw one in there, you'd think, well, obviously they're collecting jars, I better...
And I was going to throw some away the other day, and I said to myself out loud, I was on my own in the kitchen, oh, no, I might need that for something.
Yeah, you
Put
can't
it in
throw
the
a jar.
cupboard.
Everyone likes a jar.
Really?
Even though we have a recycling bag right next to the washing up.
Did you say it out loud?
Yeah, I went, I might need that for something.
You know when people often talk about, when I was at home I talk to myself, and it's like a thing that people say as a confessional, I talk to myself in the house, I'm a bit of a character.
Yeah.
I never ever talk to myself out loud.
Isn't that like being on a sponsored silence all of the time?
I don't know, I'm starting to think I'm slightly aloof.
Get on with yourself.
Yeah.
You're in a huff.
Yeah, I've tried to. I've tried to broach, tried to make chit-chat, but I won't have it. I simply won't have it.
It'd be good if Carol Vorderman stockpiled jam jars in her cupboard.
Yeah, to the point where she couldn't get out to do any panel shows I'm on.
Carol Horderman. And that could be a title.
Nice.
That could be a title of a Sky One show.
Well, let's have a break after that, and we'll come back to the jars.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, jars.
Yeah.
Jars.
I like the idea of hoarding jars. I think it's great. Do you know what I think you should do? You should wash out a Marmite jar, because and then take the labels off it and put something that shouldn't be in there, like butter or something. Because there's something macabre about a Marmite jar, that if you opened that and served it as butter, it'd be like this evil butter.
It ought to be called macarbite. That's what I say.
We haven't...
Macabre to the cat.
Macabre to the cat. We haven't put anything in the jars. I don't know what we're waiting for.
My dad used to save jars, but in his shed he had screws
cat urine kills jars.
And things. Pardon?
Cat urine kills jars.
He stocked up all the cat
He kept
urine.
them full of dog urine for medical emergencies.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plant doctor, he was known as. Him and Solomon used to stroll the area solving problems
The
on the spot.
antidote.
No, I don't know why we don't drink out of jars. There used to be a thing that people in extreme poverty drank out of jars. But they're perfectly...
And in some hipster restaurants.
Yeah, they've got a nice sturdy lip on them. And also this, you can take the lid off, and it's like they've come with their own coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can
keep the thing warm.
Keep the lid on if you're eating outdoors,
It's
like a stein. In the manner of a stein.
A biscuit rest.
A biscuit rest, it could be. Yeah.
Cactus holder.
If you wanted to try the tea to see if it was acceptable, you could just pour a bit into the lid and drink that, like they did, like when they try the wine in a restaurant. No, but I'd happily... I find all my glasses now, once they've been in the dishwasher, they've got, serrated edges.
Really?
They're jagged, so you got to be really careful with my glasses that you get the right spot.
I imagine you've got
Yeah,
lens.
they are. I have to say, if visitors come and we give them a glass of anything, try not to drink out of the end that makes you bleed. is what we say.
Yeah, my mum's a hoarder. Except my mum, like, at least you hoard jars which are of use. My mum hoards. She hoards calendars.
Old calendars.
Yeah.
The past.
When are they ever going to come into play?
She hoards the past. I can understand that. I suppose all. I don't know how old your mum is, but old people hoard the past. They do hoard the past, don't they? She does it actually in a material fashion. I respect her for that. Anyway, if our listeners hoard anything interesting, actually, I'd very much like to hear that.
Absolute Radio, Frank Skinner.
Frank, we've had a series of text messages in berating me. So I feel I've misled your fans of the show. Read Ted Hankey. It's not the vampire, it's the Count. A lovely double meaning.
Double meaning? Oh, because darters have to count.
I prefer the vampire.
Yeah, but let's get the facts right.
Yeah, it's not factually. Maybe if someone else wants to become a professional darts player, they can take the vampire as their moniker.
So today, in case you're wondering, Ted the Count.
Sounds awful.
Ted the Count Hankey is playing Christian the Seldom Kissed in today's. I think it's a semi-final, isn't it?
Semi-final,
yeah.
Semi-final.
I don't know if there's any other semi-final, but I bet I know what they look like.
And then on the subject of hoarding, text from Zoe, who says, my dad hoards waxed cotton hats, and bearing in mind he does not fish and so would not wear one waxed cotton hat, I think having 8 might be excessive.
That is...
Now this raises a question. When does a collection become a hoard? Is 8 a hoard?
Well, I think a hoard is something where you just don't want to throw it away rather than you have a desire to collect it. I mean, on the wax front, I use this hair wax stuff, as product. Grooming.
Do you say product, though? Do you call it product or wax?
No, I say, where's my... I never say where's my, because I know where it is. And also Kath would say, I don't know what it is. It's your product. But they come in lovely little neat tubs, and they last for ages, because I know you use much hair wax, but when you get to the bottom of one, it does seem a shame to throw them away. So I've got a couple of empties that I have washed out in the bathroom cupboard. They're small, but I think if I ever develop, say, for example, a drug habit, keep me pills in
or
there when I'm travelling.
Or if your teeth start falling out.
Yeah, I think I've gone through that phase. They were all taken away by a small woman with wings. Don't know what happened to those. But I've got... we're talking about coasters. I'm obsessed with coasters. I don't know. You might not know this, you two, as you're not... haven't been on the show 10 million times. But every now and again, something will happen to me where people put something on a wooden table, a hot cup on a wooden table with that coaster. And honestly, I get so upset about it.
Why?
Because it damages the table.
Do you have an extensive collection of coasters?
I have quite a lot of coasters.
What's your favourite coaster?
Well, I've got a series of themed coasters, which are fall album covers.
Oh, that sounds quite cool.
The Fall is my favourite. Let's call them a group. And so I've got those. I'm quite pleased with that. But I recently on the coffee table in our lounge, a circle has appeared, and I'm not happy, and my girlfriend is in denial. But who else?
Who else?
Or the person that lives in your flat and knows about your shower.
Yeah. That's a thought. I forgot about that person. And then there's the me that won't speak to me.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'll question all of these. This is one thing I hate about... I hate this about the Olympics. Don't you think the Olympic logo subliminally encourages people to not use coasters?
Or use those Rubik's Magics.
So you'll eventually... The people are... They don't know it, but they're subconsciously building an Olympics logo on their coffee table.
Do you think people will do that this summer to celebrate them?
Not in my flat, they won't. Not on my watch. Not on my coffee table. Obviously doesn't sound quite as impressive. It's not on my watch. It doesn't have the double meaning. But, double meanings I'll leave to Ted the Count Hankey, the master of the ambiguous nickname.
Hey, Frank, we've had another text in, actually. It's quite funny. Derek Akora, this is for your TV programmes, puns, that should be commissioned on their title. Derek Akora and David Dickinson in Bargain Haunt.
Anyway, if you'd like to... Who was that from?
It doesn't say.
Okay,
474.
474 will settle for that. Thank you, 474. So you'll be able to download... Oh, me watch has come undone. I hate it when that happens. You'll be able to... I'm going to take it off. I can't get it off. I've swollen mid-show.
You've been a right trooper today. Headphones that have been tight and
I can't. I'm struggling. The producer's just looking at me. She can see me struggling. So, Not the Weekend podcast is available from Wednesday, and you can download that. It's a completely different show. And Mark Crossley is on next. Don't help me now. It's too late now. You are like you're like the man who watches someone drowning, manage to get themselves to the bank, and then go over and help them. That's what you're like. So anyway, that's about it. Thank you very much. Laura, you're off to LA next week.
Yeah, no, Utah first.
Oh, you're off to Utah. Okay. Good. And so thank you for... It's been great having you on the show recently. Steve, always a lovely pleasure to have you on. And we'll be back next week. That is if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise. So, Utah a bit. Tura a bit.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.